back up all of our files digitally if we're diligent.
I don't.
A lot of our world exists digitally, though, but this may be a problem to some, an opposite problem of what we thought we had. According to Vincent Cerf, who is the vice president of Google and a big internet pioneer, he's worried about a digital dark age, which is essentially, he thinks that, you know, maybe we'll lose a generation or even a whole century to in the future when our digital devices are no longer used. So this is similar to like when we had 8 tracks and VHS. And what he's saying is we'll lose millions, billions of pieces of information because of this. So this would be like, essentially what his argument boiled down to was, you know, if you have a picture of something you love, print it out.
Yeah.
And it refers also, he gave the example in this Guardian article about there's this one author who was doing a book on Abraham Lincoln, and for that she found original letters that he had written. But what if he had been writing on email?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you'd have to ask the government, and they could hand them over.
Well, no.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm glad that he's bringing this up because we've heard before whenever new digital storage mediums come out, there's always a discussion of, well, how long will this last? How long does a CD actually continue to work? You know, does it give you 10 years? Does it give you a century? And I think that eventually we'll get to some sort of holographic solid state medium that will theoretically last forever, which I think will allay some of the concerns. But you're always going to have the worry of, well, what if we no longer have anything that can play it? Like, you might have mini DV tapes, but who has a mini DV player? That's a terrible example.
I mean,
there are still mini DV players, but... Or what if eventually we run out of power? We can't physically power the devices. A book you can just open, but a CD requires electricity at some point.
It sounds like that NBC show Revolution.
Maybe.
When we just suddenly lose all electricity.
One massive EMP, and all of a sudden we can't watch Harry Potter. That'll be said. So that's scary, of course, but I think that in comparison to the way things were before, when things were written down in hard copy, you'd have an actual painting or an actual
cuneiforms. We have all sorts of things that existed.
But you also have opportunity in the new system. So it may be that books exist mainly in a digital format, which is cool in that if you wanted to, you could back up literally every book that's ever been written on one hard drive, which is cool. But you could also theoretically set up some sort of program attached to a printer that could, over the long run, physically print out every book. Whereas before, to actually like set up like the typesets and everything, or to write them by hand 1,000 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do that. So we have the ability to set up some schemes of physical backup that would not have been possible before computer technology, I think.
It's hard for me to imagine that there will be... We have so much masses of information and data, they're the same thing, on computers, but like I don't see a time where we're just like, no more computers, fuck all that information. There's so much. I mean, and like we have ways of transferring, you know, old photos over and old VHS tapes and old cassettes. I
mean, okay, let's cover the data first and then the information. We'll get to that after. So it could be that right now our attachment to the sorts of like file backup that we do is going to be different in the future. Like right now, people love taking pictures, and then they love keeping as many pictures as possible. But now I think for most people, what they like upload to Instagram is probably more important than the raw batches of photos they used to take and keep. In the same way that in the past you used to take a lot of physical photos, but it was mostly whatever you put in your photo album that you really care about. Like look at like Star Trek. Do you see them flipping through thousands of pictures? No, but they might have one picture of their family up. Like maybe we're just attached to, well, if we can keep stuff, we should keep stuff. But maybe we don't really need every book we've ever read or every photo we've ever taken.
So do you think we've become, what is the word, less
hoarders?
selective?
We've become digital hoarders,
because we have all this space?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't really back up my hard drives, and I don't Google syncing. I didn't back up my bookmarks because losing a hard drive and losing the bookmarks is the only time I clean that stuff out. It's kind of like cathartic to lose stuff now. And so I say don't back up your information unless it's for your company or something.
But do you ever, like, maybe you go through your phone and you find a picture you forgot you took and you go, oh, that was a nice day? Yeah,
I do like that. And I think that there's something to be said for losing that, but I think that you can go too far in the other direction. I know this is a criticism many people have made. Louis C.K. made it. Like, people can't even like watch a play without recording it. They can't watch fireworks
Okay,
without
I
taking
agree with
pictures
you.
of it. Like,
Pictures of fireworks are usually lame. Just
You know
enjoy
what?
the fireworks.
I kind of want to look at some pictures and video of fireworks now. Nobody's ever said that in the history of the world. Nobody's ever wanted to look at a picture of fireworks.
well,
Fireworks are borderline interesting as it is. A picture of one
they're
is
very
boring as
interesting,
shit.
but they're an experience.
It's an
They're
experience.
sounds.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, and you
Yeah.
can smell them, and you can hear the crowd, and
Yeah,
be
that's
like,
true.
wow, it's right there.
And we
It's
can't
enormous.
save that yet. So look, I think that the chances that just everything is going to be wiped out, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that we have more cultural, like, sort of like touchstones are being backed up now than ever were in the past. In the past, when the Library of Alexandria burned down, you lost literally hundreds of years of literature. Or when, major book burnings would happen, you'd lose originals and you'd never see them again. We've moved beyond that sort of problems of losing culture. There are new problems, and I'm sure Google is working on all sorts of ways of
Is this
getting
a
around that.
ploy for Google Stone tablets? You decide.
Ooh.